Hey gang, Rod Cumberland, East Coast Lumberjack, and today's video is on handle repair, top handle repair to a Stihl 261 or a 291. And I think these are fairly universal across a number of Stihl products. So it was a little tricky for me. I want to show you exactly what's happening. So here we have our Stihl. I'll pull you down a little bit farther here so you can see it well. Okay, because there's a couple tricky parts here that you need to know. So the handle's broken right here. You can see it separated here from the base. So the problem is it's a plastic handle. Okay, that's probably the biggest error or problem that we have with the build. With the way this is designed, is it's a plastic handle. So, and it doesn't matter. I busted them all. So there's basically 3 points of contact. Okay, there's the bottom point of contact here, and it has a anti-vibe mount. Then there's the second point of contact, which is the anti-vibe mount up top here. And then the third point of contact is right here, okay, at the base. So both ends, and then the one here at the anti-vibe mount here. So what you need to do this project, you basically need 2 spark plug wrenches, you need a flat, and you need a Torx. Okay, they come right with your chainsaw. So the first thing we're going to do is undo these two right here at the base of the handle. So these 2 screws come out here. We're going to take those out. You've been watching the Stihl Timber Sports North American Trophy. It was just on. I happen to know one of the competitors. Canadian Ben Cumberland, he's my kid. Anyways, he had a great run at the Stihl Timber Sports North American Trophy. Not bad for a part-time bum. So those 2 screws are out there. Now what we'll do, we'll use our same thing, our Torx, and there's 3 screws on the top cover. Okay, so this is the top plastic cover right here. So there's 3 screws, one at the front, one on the left hand side at the back, and one on the right hand side at the back. Okay, so we just give them a crank. Make sure your chain breaks ahead, that comes right off. The other tricky screw that you need is for this anti-vibe mount right here. And you're just going to pull this. This is the divider between your cylinder and your carburetor. And I told you before, in this is this little plastic piece here. Okay, this flips back and forth from summer to winter. Okay, so in the winter you want the hole pointed in so that the heat gets in here. In the summertime though, right now we want the heat blocked off so that we don't overheat our engine. So we'll put that back in. So right in behind this little flange, there's a screw right here. Okay, you can see it right there. So it's a fine threaded screw. You're going to just turn it backwards here. Okay, and it's out. Throwing it at you. Okay, so that's the little screw there. It's a fine threaded screw. So the anti-vibe mount is off, and then pull the handle backwards. Okay, once you get it out apart from both parts of the chainsaw, just pull it towards the back of the saw. Okay, so that's the one piece that's busted. Now we're going to flip our saw over to the bottom. I want you to be able to see this. So there's 2 screws here as well. But there's a third one down here that you don't notice, because otherwise it's pretty tricky to get off. So this screw comes out here. This next one comes out right beside it. So these are the 2 big long coarse threaded screws. They go into the plastic body of the handles. So the handle is separated from the engine by these anti-vibe mounts. Okay, that's how it works. So these 2 screws are out here. Okay, now the next one that matters, the last one, is this one right here. It's on your chain catcher. Okay, so when your chain comes off, this little aluminum piece catches a chain from keeping on turning and getting your leg. So right on the front of that, there's another Torx screw right here. Okay, and we're going to back it out. Okay, so these are the 2 tricky ones that you got to find. You got to back them off, and that makes things a whole lot easier. Okay, so we're almost out. Okay, now the other thing I want to tell you about this, there's a spring here. This is your anti-vibe mount, and in here there's a foam piece. Okay, on one side there's a foam piece, on the other side it goes into your chain catch post. So you can put your screwdriver in here behind this little white piece. Okay, so right here, and behind the little white piece, and you just pry that out. Okay, so that comes out like that. And once we get that out, then the whole piece, you gotta pry the little black piece away from the white body of the saw like that, okay? And then it pops right out. Okay? So we have the whole handle off right now. The next thing we need to do, we need to unscrew the anti-vibe mount. You just turn it backwards. Comes off of this piece. And this piece here, it's just a little foam piece. Just wiggle it around a little bit and pop it off of that little button. Okay, so once we have that off, here's our new handle. Okay, and there's the same piece on the handle right there. So we know our little foam piece has to go on here. Okay, so our foam piece, and the teeth of it point inwards, okay, towards the saw. So that just wiggles on here, right like that. Okay, so it's on. Then the anti-vibe mount goes on here, and you just hook it under the threads and spin it. Okay, it threads right on very easily. Okay, put it on nice and tight. So that piece is on. Now the other little tricky part, if you've ever done brakes on a wheeler, it's pretty much the same setup here. Okay, so the anti-vibe mount screws in, so we're going to unscrew it from the handle. Then we're going to unscrew this little aluminum piece. Okay, so the little aluminum piece here has got to screw backwards, screw off. Okay, and once that comes off, you just take that little piece out of the slot. So it comes off, then the spring comes out, then your throttle cable basically comes out of here, out of the handle, like that. Okay, so on our new handle, we're going to put the throttle cable through the hole, right here in our handle. So it goes through. Then we put our spring, our anti-vibe spring on here. And then before you attach it all, you want to get this piece on. So it slips on. Once you get that on there, you slip it on like that. Now you're going to thread it backwards here onto your little aluminum piece. Okay, so I threaded that on here, and once it's on there, then you want to thread it onto the plastic piece. Okay, so that's threaded on now, both ends, and you can see there's my little piece right there. Okay, and it's in there. Okay, so it's threaded on both ends, and the cable has gone through it. Now, once we get all that together, so you get all your handle all together, same thing, we're going to slide it on from the back. Okay, from the back of the saw, we're going to slide it up towards the front. So it's in place here now. Now the trickiest part to get put together is the bottom. So we're going to flip it upside down here. And the first thing we do is we got to put the foam piece back into this side. Okay, so you kind of got to wiggle it around a little bit and pry it back and forth to get that in there. And this is the toughest part right here. Okay, so wiggling that around. Then you've got to make sure this little black slot, there's a little black square piece right here. Okay, so it's right there. That black square piece has to go in here. And then the spring has to go on the far side, but these two pieces have to go in first. Okay, now I'm going to start squeezing everything here together. Okay, so now the black piece has gone in here. Okay, and the foam is almost in there. And now I'm going to pry with my flat screwdriver. I'm going to pry that antivibe mount in where it goes. There's a little hole in there that it has to go in. And again, once this is in there, you got to beat. But this is a little bit of a tricky maneuver. You've got to kind of get three things here happening at once. It's popped out a little bit again on me. We'll get that foam piece. Make sure those little teeth of the foam piece are in that, pretty much lined up with a hole. There we go. So once you get it in like that, okay, so I've got my foam piece almost in. This piece here is in past that, and the black piece is almost lined up. Once you get the three of those almost lined up, it's just a little bit of wiggling to get it into place. Okay, so I've wiggled it there, so the black piece is in line. There we go. Okay, so there it's in. Okay, so once this piece is in, I'm going to put one of my screws in, my coarse threaded screws, just to hold that. Okay, just to hold the handle so this all doesn't pop out again. Okay, so this piece can't come out on us now, because the only other tricky part, and it's not that bad, you just got to pry a little bit. So that screw there is in just to hold it all together, so this piece can't come out on us now. Now we're going to flip it back up, and we're going to go back in here to our fine threaded screw that's in the top, in that top anti-vibe mount. So it's this screw here, it's the fine threaded one. I'm just going to place it in it's a white metal, okay, at the end of that anti-vibe mount that we screwed in, the little piece of aluminum. We're going to put our screw in there first, okay? So it's already in there. We're going to put our Torx on top of it. And then that should line up with your screw hole, and we're just going to screw that in. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, so the screw is right there, and we've screwed it in. It's just got to be tightened up here a little bit more. And this flange here will move for you. The white flange will move. There. Okay, so the anti-vibe is tightened up there now. So all we need to do is put our last 3 coarse threaded screws in, and the handle's on. So there's 2 go on the outside here. All right. So there's 2 here. Got my 3rd one. Don't want to lose that. So these go on fairly quickly. Give them a good, really good snug tighten. These ones here, okay? You don't want these ones jumping back on you. Really tight there. Just going to check this one here is tightened down on the top. Okay, so the top fine threaded screw is really tight. Now we're going to go back to the bottom right here and put our last screw in. And of course, remember this outside one. So this one here where your chain catch post is, we're going to tighten it up. Same thing, nice good solid wrenching as soon as it gets in there. And then our last 2 are right here on the bottom. Nice and tight there. nice and tight there. Okay, so there's our handle all installed. Okay, so that's a Stihl MS660, sorry, Stihl MS261 or the 291. Now all we're going to do is put our cover back on. Okay, so there's 3 screws on that. 1, 2, 3 right here. On the other side. There we go. Broken handle replacement.